One more gem and we'll have 21 out of 42. We'll be halfway there. And 1 gem is all we can get from Road to Ruin on our first visit. This is another one of those levels that you can't 100% on your first attempt, well, not legitimately. Unlike Air Crash, this way does. There is a sequence break here, but as you can see there, see that set of outline boxes over there with an exclamation mark over there? You're only supposed to be able to get to that area via a secret exit. But if you do a really, really good jump here, it is possible to make it. I'm going to stick to the developer-intended route. So, basically, we don't need to worry about boxes here. We can't get the box gems since there are a few hidden behind that area. But this is a new theme of level, the Ruin levels. They're kind of an interesting combination of both side-scrolling and 3D segments. Don't spin that rat, that's a bad idea. We also have these strange, weird lizard things. You can only defeat them with a slide. They have spiked tops and spiked sides, so jumping and spinning are both pointless. In fact, they'll get you hurt. Also, those things breathe fire out of their mouths. And as you can see, there is a danger path here, so let's go ahead and take it. There are no boxes in this danger path, so this is going to be the 1 gem that we're getting from this level. But this one is actually a little annoying because it drops us further into the level, and it's actually going to drop us past the crystal, so we'll have to backtrack after doing this. Anyway, though, we see here a bit of a new mechanic. These logs are falling. Here, there's a bit of mercy. You get a safe spot on these platforms, but really, there's actually not much time to reach the safe spots. You generally have to end up jumping them at some point, especially since the closer you get to their source, this gorilla, the harder it is to dodge them. Now, the second time I get to a log segment, I'll show off another method that's not entirely obvious, but it does make them a lot easier. We have rotating platforms here. Yeah, the Ruin levels are all about platform jumps over bottomless pits. So hopefully I can show something here. Oh, these platforms fall down, by the way, and that was a reckless mask usage. In fact, I might not be able to show it here. So I'll get to that later. We will be seeing more of those log segments. These platforms are very, very strange. They twist around and they'll gradually shove you off them if you keep standing in one spot, so I thought I was going to miss that jump. Just be careful. Speaking of being careful, here, take it slow because there are these fire-breathing heads here, and that gets you the gem. And if we jump on the platform here, though, it'll take us back to the regular part of the level, but like I said, further ahead. Now, there is a sequence break here, and this is why speedrunners hate this level. If you do a slide jump here, and do what's called a wiggle jump, which is where you rapidly mash left and right on the D-pad while you're in midair. This is actually a pretty tricky segment to do backwards, but anyway. This set of boxes is also important. Remember this for later. But like I was saying, mash left and right repeatedly while in midair, and Crash will kind of wiggle back and forth. This very slightly increases your midair distance. So, by doing that, it's a very difficult jump, but you can actually grab the Danger Path gem from the wrong side and skip the whole thing. And seeing as you can skip the secret area at the start of this level, you actually will be able to complete the level the first time. Technically speaking, the bonus is pointless, but let's do it anyway. Just kind of want to show it. We'll be coming back to this level, obviously. I do kind of like the music in these ones too. Also, the shadows in the background. It really gives the sense of just this big area. I always did quite like the design of the Ruins levels. This is kind of an interesting segment. It's a kind of exclamation mark box puzzle, I guess. It's pretty obvious what you have to do here. You can actually skip this entire thing by doing, I think it requires another wiggle jump. I'm not sure if you can make it via a normal slide jump, but you can actually make that jump without needing any of the exclamation mark boxes. So yes, this level has a lot of potential sequence breaks in it, which is why speedrunners probably love it so much. Well, love being a relatively strong word there, because a lot of these sequence breaks are quite difficult and often ruin speedruns, especially the Danger Path skip. That one is an incredibly difficult jump to make. Now we have these flamethrower heads going back and forth here. I think we're actually pretty close to the end of the level. We get these interesting monkey enemies here as well. They jump across these platforms and only land on very specific ones. It's generally easiest to spin them when they're a about to land. And yeah, that was the end of the level already, but of course, we can't get the box gem here. So for now, that's actually all we can do. Of course, on our next visit to the level, we won't need to go through the danger path because there are no boxes there. Of course, if I was feeling like a masochist, I could actually try and do that. But that is all we can do of Road to Ruin at this point. The next level is yet another bear pun. You might think that this is a polar level. The answer to that is yes and no. It's actually a little unexpected what this level actually is. When I first played, I was pretty surprised by it. It's also a level that has a lot of secrets to it, despite only having a crystal and a box gem. This is another one of those box gems that is a bit of a god dang it to get. So I'm going to be saving first, and then I'll see you for that one. Just realised, 51%, we're officially over halfway there. You can tell by the warp room that this is a chase level, and it's in the snow this time, so I guess we've got a snow-covered boulder, and This is one of the things that really surprised me back when I was a kid. I did not expect to be chased by something that wasn't a boulder. The bear is actually very slightly faster than the boulder as well, only slightly though. We also have a new mechanic, these fences that you have to either slide or spin to get through, and these lizards. They're the only enemies that ever attack you during a chase sequence, but they are thankfully very slow moving. I like to wait for the bear here just to see this animation. Actually feel kind of bad for it, but it will be quickly replaced by another bear here. There's a mine here that just loves to jump you right in the pit, so be careful of that. There are also a couple of mines here that like to jump you over this fence, but I'm not going to hit them because they slow you down too much. And of course being slowed down here is very bad. We also have a set of more lizards here. The bear will get them, don't worry. We'll soon be done with our bear problem as well. That thud happened a lot earlier than normal, though. And we have 3 rungs of the bridge still here, and a checkpoint. These are the only hints that we're about to do something that defies all logic. Jump in a pit. This leads you to a secret area. Another one of the guide dangers in this game. This is actually the only time in the game you get to hear the secret theme for the chase levels, and it's actually really good. So we have these hunters that fire, thankfully, slow-moving bullets, and the box in the middle of that is usually a life, but I've had to reload this level a few times, so it turned into a normal question mark box. There are some lives that don't do that, though. We also have the buzzsaw turtles back again. There's something kind of interesting you could do with them, but I might not show it here because it's not exactly good to do that while the bullets are still flying. Maybe this turtle, though. Yeah, I was not going to dodge that. So anyway, I can show this now. If you slide the buzzsaw turtles, they actually flip over, like the spike ones for jumping on them. If you spin them, they just go away instantly. Kind of strange, but that's just how it works. Grab that, and if you look closely, you can see 2 right here. They're always here. Don't forget this bouncy box. Normally you use it to get up here and get those. Don't forget to come back down here and spin it, because I've missed that box on quite a few attempts. We also have this very weird new enemy, a literally armored armadillo. It is completely invincible. Jumping, sliding, and spinning, all of them will not work. But if you belly flop on it, that gets rid of the armor. But be careful because they like to shove you dramatically sideways sometimes. Sometimes they don't, but it's a little weird. So do not belly flop them right next to pits. That will usually end badly. Let's grab these, dodge this bullet. Dodge that one, and I like to slide jump here. This armadillo, I like to leave it. Generally, they're not really that big of a threat. You can also bounce on them, yeah, and watch out for those things getting you point blank. This area is interesting too. We've got one of these rat segments in 2D, but you can just do a slide jump here to skip it. Let's get ourselves another mask. You do have to crouch here, I believe, to dodge these bullets. And timing this one can be a bit tricky. Jump here, jump there. Okay, I think I've got it. If I get hit here, which I don't want to tempt fate, but what I like to do is just run straight through these nitros. I did that too early / late. Yeah, that thing got me point blank. That's annoying. But anyway, now you can tell why the rungs were still there, because the platform breaks them. So we get the crystal, and let's move on. Now this bonus is a bit easier if you hit the nitro exploder before going into it. It's not a particularly difficult bonus anyway, though. It's definitely a breather after that area. Grab that. Need to slide jump here. Get these, and hit that exclamation mark. You don't actually need a slide jump here, you can make that normally. So, on top of that block of metal boxes, there were originally 4 nitros. So, this makes the jump a lot easier. You can still make it with the nitros there, you just need to do it in one bounce. Now, if you have a mask going into that bonus, it can be beneficial to just jump right on the nitros and lose it. Reason being, masks do not carry over to chase segments. Probably because they'd interact very weirdly with the supposedly instant death chase enemies. The lizards also, that was really risky because the bear would have got that box anyway. The lizards also jump sometimes. And electric fence here, slide onto that. Now, there's a bit of a tricky thing coming up. Crawling there is a bit risky. But what's that sound? Oh yes, it's time for this. This is really, really awesome. I don't think the bear can even get you during this segment because you're so fast on Polar, but yeah, this segment of the game is extremely cool. Don't hit those TNTs though. These electric fences are also kind of cool because you can smash straight through them harmlessly by hitting the sides of them. This whole sequence is just so awesome. I remember I loved this as a kid. And there goes the bear down the pit. But what about Polar? Don't worry, Polar is safe. 58 boxes, that gets us the box gem. But we're backtracking. Why? We gotta make sure Polar is safe after all. This pit here is not really all that long. We can get over it with a slide jump. And if we keep going back here, we'll find Polar is alive and well. If we approach him, it's another warp to the secret warp room, but this one is very special. Thankfully, you get to keep the crystal and gem. In the beta version, you didn't. You'd actually lose them and have to play the level again if you got a secret exit. So you might notice the level name there, Totally Bare, and it's level 26. This is actually a whole new level. It's not a secret entrance. Now, for the best productivity, I should be doing this level now, but I think just because of the level numbers, I might leave them until the very end of the game, just to show the final 2 levels at the very end. I feel like that'll only be fitting. So how you exit out of the secret warp room is just going into any of these levels and leaving. If you go into Totally Bare and try and leave, you actually will go out of Un-Bearable, rather than the secret warp room. So let's just quit to the warp room here. We have 55% already. And I believe the moment we do this, we'll actually get a hologram. Because holograms don't reach you during the secret warp room.
Rash, my boy, you are more than halfway. But I'm sure you've noticed that things are getting harder. The last 10 crystals will be the hardest to gather. And our enemies will be sending their strongest forces to thwart you. I'll contact you again when you have completed the next one.
So there's not going to be a message from Cortex for a while. The boss won't actually attack you until you go up from the 3rd warp room, so we can still move up and down freely between these other ones. But this one, once we go up, it'll be boss time. At the moment, we've got everything we can out of this warp room, unless you count Totally Bare as part of this warp room, which some people do. Yeah, we can't quite get that just yet. So, I'm going to go ahead and save here. And, oh, this means we don't get the file icon for Un-Bearable, which I'm pretty sure is just the giant bear staring at you. Yep, just the Snogo one. I should just mention, that actually was the last chase level in the game, so no more of that. When we go up here, though, it'll be time for our 3rd boss. This is Tiny Tiger, basically the dumb muscle of the bad guys. Though if I pause here, you'll notice the pause screen lists his actual name. In the American version, this showed his beta name, Taz Tiger. But anyway, the main gimmick of this fight is that we can't actually damage Tiny directly. We have to make him fall in the pits. These platforms will eventually blink red and fall, and we have to lure him into either landing on a platform that's about to fall, or trying to jump over a hole that's already there. He can jump diagonally though, so be aware of that. He can only jump one platform at a time. You generally want him to stay behind you as much as possible, and yeah. The main threat in this fight is not Tiny himself, but the other platforms that fall after you get him in each phase. This last phase is interesting though. Only one platform will ever fall at a time. But once Tiny goes down, every platform except one is gonna fall. So you have to be ready for that. Okay, just this one. That should get him, and wow, that was absurdly lucky. Usually the one that you're on is red as well, and you have to quickly scramble to the other one. Also, if Tiny happens to be on screen the last time he falls, you get to see that. I didn't know about that defeat animation for a while when I first played, because usually he ended up off screen when I got the final hit. Anyway, though, that fight actually gave me a lot more trouble than I thought it would in this playthrough, but he's generally not that bad. And we don't even get a hologram at all. Cortex is true to his word. He's only going to contact us after we finish this one. We're here in Warp Room 4. Oh boy, Warp Room 4. Warp Room 4 is where the game has a major difficulty spike when it comes to the box gems. Hanging out is not too bad. Digging it is fairly brutal. This one! This level is the stuff of nightmares. Just for the box gem, but yeah. Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to this level. Not at all. And the fact that digging it comes before it is no consolation. This one's actually almost as bad. Ruination, which is weirdly enough kind of a breather after those two. And then Behaving, which is also a breather. But if you look closely, you'll see this one actually has a colored gem. Which will be the last. But oh boy, this one, I'm not looking forward to this level at all. Anyway. I guess before I save, though, I should just mention one thing, is that Tiny got a pretty big downgrade in the third game, where he was just the first boss. So, anyway, with that, that should be enough for this episode. So, I will see you next time for, well, I mean, I'm probably going to have to do at least 2 levels, and then Cold Hard Crash. Ugh. At least, hanging out is relatively a breather compared to the rest of the warp room, so I get to relax there. There is a kind of a strange thing you can do with these. If you slide them, they actually go into shells, and yeah, I wasted a bullet doing that. But yeah, they go into their shells there, and then that happened. Of a strange enemy. These only ever appear in these secret areas, and there's only 2 of these kind of secret areas in the game. These literal armored armadillos. Spinning them won't work, sliding them won't, and they love to shove you back. So yeah, you can get far behind quite quickly if you hit too many mines here. These levels are kind of memorization sometimes, but oh yeah, the lizards can jump. You don't see that often, but it's also funny if they get hit by the bear while they're jumping, because then they turn flat in midair. That is a tricky bit. You need to break the fence and then slide. And let's just dodge past these lizards and get to a bridge. We're soon going to be done with our bear problem. You almost never survive, and you just stop. That's kind of strange. But if you belly flop them, we get stuck in the hitbox for a little bit. So, more bullet dodging. And I had a feeling I was going to hit that one. Oh, okay, wow, my invincibility wore off at just a second too late there. The main gimmick of this fight is you have to... Okay, this could be really bad. Oh, that was close. Yeah, so more platforms will fall after you get the hit on him. Really, the main threat in this fight is not him. It's the platforms that fall after you hit him. The third phase is weird. So only one platform is going to go down at a time, and I thought he was going to go that way. The general gimmick of this is that you want him to be about one platform behind you as much as possible, and not jump directly into him. You can't actually do any damage to Tiny yourself. We have to make him fall, and for that purpose, we need to wait for the... That was weird, I've never died that way before.